Hi guys, I'm Master Sergeant Bexo Retired. Welcome back to another episode of Ammo Count. I realized in my previous episodes, I talked about buying a reasonable car. Let me tell you exactly what a reasonable car is and what I did. Here's my story, and it starts back in tech school. I went to tech school in July of 1995, and I finished in February. I had a long tech school. It was several months. That entire time, I really didn't spend money. I was saving money because I was living in the dorms and everything was provided for. When you live in the dorms, you really have an opportunity to save a lot of money. So I didn't have a car. We marched everywhere. We marched to class. We marched back from class. And on the weekends, the base had a bus service. So if I needed to go to the BX to grab something, I'd take the bus. So I knew I was going to need a car when I got to my first duty station. So I started saving up for that car. I saved as much as I could during that time that I was in tech school. 8 months I was saving money. So again, my base pay was E1, Airman Basic, the whole time that I was in tech school. So it was less than that 980 E2 pay that I showed you guys when I was over 2 years of service. So after 8 months, I saved a total of $3,000. I figured that would be a good amount for a down payment to put toward the purchase of my first car. And so this actually leads to a funny story. A couple of weeks into my arriving at my first duty station, a friend took me around to look at cars. And I picked one that I liked. The asking price for that vehicle was $11,000. Okay, so I saved up $3,000 and the price of the car was $11,000. I ended up going to Tinker Federal Credit Union to get a loan. Now, the owner of the car actually went with me, which I thought was interesting in itself. And so the loan officer had me in his office, and he said, I'm sorry, we can't loan you $11,000 because you don't have a credit history. And they said, well, we can loan you $8,000. And I was like, well, that's perfect because I have $3,000. And the loan officer, he said, why didn't you tell us you had $3,000? I said, you didn't ask me. I was able to get that loan for $8,000. I gave the owner a check for $3,000 and the bank gave him a check for $8,000. And I started making payments on my very first car in March of 1996. I still have that car. What did that do for me? I had a loan for $8,000. Those payments ran about $170 a month, which fit well within my base pay of E1. $170 a month, and then I got full coverage insurance for $120 a month. I was 19 years old. First car payment, first insurance. Those are big milestones. And guys, today's car market, the average car payment is $762 a month. There's no way I would have survived if I would have taken on a car payment of $760 a month. That's just craziness. So the Ramsey folks, they suggest buying a car completely in cash, a car that you know you are not going to have more than a couple years. And during the time that you had this cash car, you save while you have this cash car to sell the cash car after a year or two and then upgrade in car with that cash that you've been saving up and the price that you get for selling that car. Keep that car payment small. You're not going to have this car forever. This car does not define who you are. A car is a mode of transportation. And if you're smart about it, that mode of transportation doesn't have to eat away all of your ammo every month. Just a small portion. You only need something to get from A to B and make it a small chunk of your pay. I made it just fine on that small car payment and insurance. You have to remember, the newer the car, the higher the insurance will be. As soon as that car is paid off, don't start spending that money. Keep saving it. Set it aside for your next car. Now, I was able to pay my car off early. I paid that loan off in 3 years, about 9 months before I went on my overseas assignment. Really neat thing is I still have that car today. Paid it off in February of 1999. I added it all up. That's 328 months ago. 328 months that I didn't have a car payment. I'm not saying that you can't have a nice car. I'm saying When you are establishing your financial foundation, you get to choose how big your targets are, how much ammunition that you need to set aside every month so those targets are taken out. So there it is. That's the specifics of what I consider to be a reasonable car. Now, the Ramsey folks say to buy a car in cash. If I had bought a $3,000 car, that's the cash that I had saved up over the course of tech school, man, that was 3 years I wouldn't have had a payment. So a car payment really is one of those things that Ramsey says keeps the middle class, keeps people poor. When you're first starting out, don't get a super flashy car, a super expensive car. Just get something that you can use as a stepping stone to get a nicer car later. And the good thing about that car payment is, I made Airman, I think after 12 months, the base pay that I had went up, but my car payment stayed the same. And then again, I made Airman First Class. Once again, my pay went up, but my car payment did not. My car payment stayed the same. If I would have paid cash, I would have been able to start saving more every month because I didn't have a car payment. Now, yes, I want to still carry insurance. That's another thing that you can consider. If you buy an inexpensive car, you don't necessarily have to have full coverage, but definitely need to have liability. You save up enough cash to replace that car in the event that you have an accident. So remember, keep your expenses within your ammo. Don't allocate more than you have. You're going to end up borrowing and having to pay back people for stuff that you couldn't afford. That's all for this ammo count. Keep track of your ammo. Don't run out. You control how big those targets are for the most part. Car, housing, food, clothing, utilities, those are things that are within your control. All right, again, don't run out. See you next time.